Hi, I'm here with Connor. He is the father of a potential client. We are conducting an open-ended functional assessment interview to discuss behaviors, and yeah, we are going to begin. So, can you tell me the name of your son?
Lawrence,
Lawrence. Okay. And can you tell me his date of birth?
September 3rd, 2017.
Awesome. And that would make him 6 years old?
6.
6 years old. Okay. Can you describe his language abilities? So the options that we have here are nonverbal, one-word utterances, short disfluent sentences, and full fluency.
One word utterances.
One-word utterances. Okay. Can you describe that a little bit more? What does that look like for you?
Just the way he communicates to us mostly is just like one word things. Like if he needs to use the bathroom or something, he'll just say bathroom or potty. He won't say I need to go to the bathroom. Just things like that.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you for your response.
Sure.
Does he attend private school, public school, or is he homeschooled?
He's homeschooled.
Homeschooled. Okay. Can you describe his play skills and or preferred toys or leisure activities? Some things he likes.
He doesn't really play super well with other kids.
So a lot of independent play.
Yeah, mostly with the homeschooling and stuff. It's kind of hard to like find other kids for him to hang out with and stuff. But he likes playing with like toys like any other kid might. Just fire trucks and cars. He really likes cars. So
Is there any physical activity that you feel like he's really into? Whether that's chase, does he enjoy physical touch when it comes to play, or does he want
yeah,
to be left alone?
when we go to the park sometimes, like he'll like to play like freeze tag and things like that. But as far as like at home, he's not like the most like cuddly or anything like that. Like he usually likes to kind of have his own space and keep to himself physically, but in play he'll engage physically.
Okay. Thank you for that. Can you think of outside of play other things that he prefers, like high, more? I guess what I'm looking for is more like super highly preferred things, maybe. Some
Um,
things he's really into doesn't have to be necessarily play based.
yeah, like I think kind of like just playing with his toys and stuff, and like kind of he'll go in his room, which I think is like his like safe space, and kind of play by himself and like use his toys and stuff. And he's got a pretty vivid imagination, so I think he just enjoys his like alone time, and playing kind of by himself.
Okay. What about something like food? What foods is he really into? Does he?
He's not the pickiest eater, but he does have like preferred things like peanut butters and jellies. He really likes Uncrustables. It's kind of like his go-to like easy meal. But he'll eat like most of what we put in front of him, as long as it's not vegetables. He's not a big vegetable guy.
Okay, does not like vegetables. Okay. Me neither. So, can you tell me if Lawrence is taking any medications for any problem behaviors, or does he have any like medical history that's outside of ASD?
Yeah, he takes ADHD medication.
Okay.
He takes Adderall,
Okay.
or it might be Vyvanse actually. It's one or the other. Probably have to ask my wife. But he has ADHD.
Okay, so he is diagnosed ADHD.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Correct.
Yeah, if possible, we would like to get the paperwork for that as soon as possible.
Sure.
As well as figuring out what exact medication he's on.
Okay.
Awesome. Okay. Now, can you tell me what are some of his problem behaviors and what they kind of look like?
Yeah. So he cries often, and it seems like it's more of like a way to get out of like doing certain things, like eating vegetables, and he tantrums pretty frequently.
Okay. Is that the only problem behavior that you see, or do you feel like you see other behaviors as well?
No, I think along with like the tantruming, like he'll flop a lot of the times. It starts with crying, and then it usually progresses into flopping.
Okay.
And then sometimes if we even try to like put him back, like in his chair, for him to eat, like he'll try to bite and pinch and things like that.
Biting and pinching. Is that the only aggression that you guys see, biting and pinching?
Yeah, for the most part, he doesn't kick or punch too much. It's usually just biting and pinching.
Okay. And you feel like that is really just a part of escalation when it
Yeah.
starts off as crying, so you never see biting or pinching like
Immediately, yeah.
right, or like
Yeah.
in a separate instance. It's all part of an escalation.
Yeah.
Essentially. Okay. And do you feel like you have a behavior that's the single like most concerning?
The biting can be like pretty hard. I feel like he doesn't know like his own strength. You know, when it comes to biting, I think he can overdo it sometimes. And if he gets a piece of you, it's gonna hurt pretty bad. You know.
Okay.
So that definitely concerns me, especially like if he were to play with other kids, and I wouldn't want anybody to get hurt.
Okay. And would you say those three are just the top most concerning things? I know we talked about biting. I'm going to put biting down as number one.
Yep.
And then crying and flopping.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now, can you tell me the range of intensity of bite? I know you kind of touched on that a little bit, but the range of intensity of biting and the extent to which he or others may be hurt or injured from biting.
I would say by the time it gets to where he wants to bite, like you were saying with the escalation, the intensity is pretty high. Like it's like full on tantrum. So I would say the intensity is probably pretty high up there.
Since you say that all these kind of occur at the same time, are all these behaviors as a whole all part of like on the high intensity range? Like
no, it definitely starts off like with a more like mild crying,
okay.
Or like complaining that turns into crying like pretty quickly, and then from there the flopping and falling on the floor is with the crying.
Okay.
And that's, I would say, moderate. So like the crying is pretty like intermediate, and then the flopping is moderate to like a little bit more like aggressive flopping, but then the biting is like full blown like intense.
Okay. Okay. Do you feel like he bites to an extent y'all bleed, y'all are injured, broken skin?
Definitely broken skin.
Okay. Do the different types of problem behavior tend to occur in bursts or clusters, and or does any type of problem behavior typically precede another type of problem behavior? So we kind of talked about this. It sounds like from what you've already told me that, and you can correct me if I'm wrong or affirm or decline what I'm saying, but the biting, the crying, and the flopping all occur in like conjunction in a burst.
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
Yeah.
And
if you mean in a burst at like one time, then yeah, like it's usually just like
okay.
Linear.
Okay. And crying precedes flopping, which precedes biting, correct?
Yep.
Okay. I'm gonna just write that down really quickly. How else are you doing today?
Good.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Yep. Hoping we can get him some help.
Yeah. Okay, under what conditions or situations, I know you touched on this a little bit, but maybe we can go into a little bit more. What conditions or situations are the problem behaviors most likely to occur?
Just I'm trying to get them to like eat certain foods. Like I said, the vegetables. That's usually like when it happens the worst. But in general, just like telling him no, or trying to, I guess, discipline him or lead him in a certain direction that he doesn't want to go. But it seems to be like super or more severe when it's like food related.
Food related. Okay, so I'm gonna write that. That answers our next question. Do the problem behaviors reliably occur during any particular activity?
Yeah.
You would say it's food related.
Yeah, food and just like telling him no in general.
Okay, telling him no. So, okay, interesting. Do you feel like it also, outside of no, is it, so when it comes to food related, is it that you're telling him no, you can't have something else, or is it that you're telling him, hey, you have to eat this?
Either or.
So, okay,
both
so
scenarios,
okay.
So whether it's we're trying to get him to eat a certain food, or if he wants, like sweets or something, and it's late, and we say no, then a similar reaction.
Okay. Do these behaviors occur when you break routines or interrupt activities?
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah, but it doesn't always go to the full extent of like the biting, but a lot of times there's like complaining and maybe some like crying associated with these things.
Can you describe what kind of like break in routine or interruption of activity?
Um, just anything like sometimes like he'll be watching like a TV show or something, and we may need to go somewhere, uh, and just having to turn off the TV and get in the car can sometimes be a struggle.
So transitions.
Transitions, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. Does the problem behavior occur when it appears that he won't get his way?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Can you also maybe describe to me the things that he, in the day-to-day, often attempts to control?
Schedule. Like he likes to try to control his own schedule, and if he's super like fixated on something or involved in something, he usually won't want to stop.
Okay. And does he also try to control food intake?
Yeah.
Okay. How do you and others react or respond to the problem behavior?
We try to ignore it initially, just in the sense of like uh, not giving it too much attention, like the crying, and rather just like keep trying to convince him to do uh, whatever it is that we're attempting to accomplish. Um, and then once it becomes more severe, then we intervene, and try to stop him from flopping or whatever the case may be. Because sometimes it can get a little aggressive. We don't want him to hurt himself.
Okay. Would you feel like, in instances where, say, you were trying to get him to eat a food, you told him to eat the vegetable, and he begins to engage in crying and flopping and aggression, do you feel like that's given to him? Or he is
Gets
able...
his way.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, sometimes for sure.
Yeah,
Especially if like I've had like a long day at work or something.
Yeah. Okay.
We try to avoid the biting at all costs.
Yeah, so if that means... Which
Giving him what he
I
needs.
can understand that that's difficult. Okay, what do you and others do to calm him down once he's engaged in the problem behavior? Outside of the planned ignoring, I know, like when you say you don't want it to get to a certain point, if you see it's escalating, you just kind of just want to stop it, so you'll do whatever you can to stop it. What does some of that look
Sometimes
like?
we'll negotiate with them and try to make certain deals.
Okay.
Whether that be that if he doesn't eat one thing now, that he can have it later or at another time, or just like that. Negotiations, really.
Negotiating. Okay. And physically, you say you'll step in to try to physically stop him from
Yeah, something like
when
throwing
he's
himself on the
flopping.
floor.
Okay. Okay. What do you and others do to distract him from engaging in the problem behavior? Do y'all ever feel like you avoid behavior, or?
Yeah.
Okay. So what do you feel like you do to distract him from the problem behavior?
Just kind of continue. Like if we're having a conversation and he starts, if my wife and I are having a conversation and he starts having a behavior, sometimes we'll just try to continue our conversation without him interrupting it.
Okay. I'm going to ask you some final questions here. What do you think he's trying to communicate with his problem behavior, if anything? You feel like if you don't feel like he's trying to communicate anything, that's fine too. Just if you feel like he is, what do you feel like he's trying to
No, I don't know that he's trying to communicate anything. I think it's just he has trouble when he doesn't get his own way.
Okay. Do you feel like his problem behavior at all is any form of self-stimulation?
No.
No. And lastly, you might feel like you touched on this before, but I'm going to ask you just as a final question. Why do you think he is engaging in the problem behavior?
Because he's not getting his way.
Alrighty, I really appreciate you taking the time
Well,
to do this interview with me. I'm going to look over this. We'd really appreciate all medical information about Lawrence and any other information that you have, whether that's history of intervention somewhere else, anything like that. Feel free. We would like to see all that information. And I hope you have a wonderful day. We
Thanks.
will get back to you as soon as we can.
Okay.
I have to end the video.